Do-hyun stared out the large window of the spaceship. Stars rushed by as the ship moved faster than light. His heart beat quickly in his chest. He still could not believe he was here. "Last call for all students to report to the main hall," said a voice over the speakers. The voice did not sound human. It had a clicking sound between words. Do-hyun grabbed his small bag and looked at himself one more time in the mirror. His black hair was neatly combed. His simple blue uniform had the Earth patch on the right shoulder. He made sure his glasses sat straight on his nose. These glasses had been with him for 5 years now. He needed them to see clearly. "Time to go," he said to himself, and walked out of his small room. The hallways of the Knowledge Seeker ship were huge. They had to be, to fit all the different alien species that came to study at the Galactic Academy. Do-hyun walked past a group of tall, thin aliens with 4 arms. They spoke in high-pitched sounds that his translator could not catch. He reached the main hall and stopped at the entrance. The room was packed with students from all over the galaxy. Some had scales, others had fur. Some floated in the air, others crawled on many legs. Do-hyun felt very small and very human. "Are you going to stand there all day?" asked a friendly voice behind him. Do-hyun turned around and saw another human. She was about his height with short black hair and bright eyes. "I'm Ji-woo," she said, holding out her hand. "From Busan. Looks like we humans need to stick together." Do-hyun smiled and shook her hand. "I'm Do-hyun from Seoul. I'm studying engineering." "Cultural anthropology here," Ji-woo said. "Come on, let's find seats before all the good ones are taken." They walked into the hall together. Some aliens turned to look at them. Humans were still new to the galactic community. Earth had only joined the Galactic Federation 40 years ago, when they finally built ships that could travel faster than light. Do-hyun and Ji-woo found seats near the middle of the hall. The seats changed shape to fit human bodies when they sat down. "Attention, students," said a deep voice from the front of the hall. Everyone went quiet. A blue-skinned alien walked onto the stage. He had 6 limbs and moved with careful, measured steps. His eyes were large and made of many smaller parts like an insect's eyes. He wore a simple black robe with many small pockets. "I am Professor Tavik," the alien said. "I welcome you all to the Galactic Academy's exchange program." Do-hyun leaned forward in his seat. Professor Tavik was famous. He taught the survival skills course that was required for all first-year students. "You come from 33 different planets," Professor Tavik continued, "each with its own challenges and environments. Each species has found its own ways to survive and grow. This is good. This is why the galaxy is strong." The professor walked slowly across the stage. His 6 limbs moved in perfect order. "But now you must learn from each other. You must see how others solve problems. You must understand that there are many ways to face a challenge." Ji-woo was taking notes on a small pad. Do-hyun just watched the professor, trying to read his alien face. "During your time here, you will face many tests," said Professor Tavik. "Some will be easy for your species, others will be very hard. This is how you learn." The professor stopped walking and looked out at the students. His compound eyes seemed to see everyone at once. "Your final examination will test practical adaptation skills in unfamiliar environments. Be prepared for anything." Do-hyun thought the professor looked directly at him when he said this. But that was silly. Why would the professor single out one human student? After the welcome speech, all students were given their room assignments and class schedules. Do-hyun was happy to learn that he would share quarters with Ji-woo. It would be good to have another human nearby. "Look at this schedule," Ji-woo said as they walked to their room. "Interspecies communication, galactic history, survival skills, advanced mathematics." "The survival skills class sounds interesting," Do-hyun said. "I've never had to survive anywhere except the city." Ji-woo laughed. "City survival is a skill too, but I bet Professor Tavik has something more challenging in mind." Their room was small but comfortable. It had 2 beds that adjusted to human body shapes, a study area with advanced computers, and a food station that could make Earth food. The walls could change color based on their mood. That night, Do-hyun could not sleep. He got up and looked out the window at the stars. He thought about his family back on Earth. His mother had cried when he left. His father had been proud but worried. Not many humans got the chance to study at the Galactic Academy. Can't sleep? Ji-woo asked from her bed. Just thinking about home, Do-hyun said. Me too. Ji-woo sat up. My grandmother told me to be careful around aliens. She still remembers when they first came to Earth. My grandfather was the same. Do-hyun smiled. He said, don't let them think humans are weak just because we're new to space. Are we weak? Ji-woo asked softly. Do-hyun thought about it. Different, maybe. Not weak. Some of these aliens can breathe fire, Ji-woo pointed out. Others can lift 10 times their weight. We're just normal. We're adaptable, Do-hyun said. Humans have always been good at figuring things out, making tools, solving problems. They talked late into the night, sharing stories about Earth and their families. It made the strange ship feel a little more like home. The next morning, they had their first class with Professor Tavik. The classroom was a large open space with no chairs or desks. All the students stood in a circle. Some floated, others stretched, their many limbs. Survival begins with understanding yourself, Professor Tavik said as he entered the room. Today, each of you will share one natural advantage your species has, and one weakness. One by one, the alien students spoke. The Pyroxians could create fire inside their bodies. The Mevlans could sense electrical fields. The crystal-like Zith could go without water for years. When it was Do-hyun's turn, he felt all eyes on him. Humans, he began, his voice shaking a little. Humans are adaptable. We don't have one great strength, but we can learn and adjust to almost any situation. And your weakness? Professor Tavik asked, his compound eyes focusing on Do-hyun. Do-hyun thought for a moment. We need tools, he said finally. Without our tools, we are not very strong or fast. Professor Tavik made a clicking sound that the translator didn't catch. Interesting, the professor said. Remember this, students. Every strength can become a weakness. Every weakness can become a strength. That will be the key to passing your final exam. As they left the class, Do-hyun couldn't help but feel that Professor Tavik was planning something special for the humans. Something that would test their so-called adaptability to its limits. I think this is going to be an interesting year, Ji-woo said with a smile. Do-hyun nodded. Very interesting indeed. 3 months passed quickly on the Knowledge Seeker. Do-hyun and Ji-woo fell into a routine of classes, study sessions, and meals in the large dining hall. They learned about many alien cultures and made a few friends among the other species. Do-hyun found the technical classes easy. Human math was not that different from galactic math, but the survival skills class with Professor Tavik was hard. Humans did not have the natural abilities that other species had. One day, all students got a message on their communication devices. All students report to the main amphitheater at mid-cycle. Important announcement regarding final examination. It's happening, Ji-woo said as she read the message. Professor Tavik is finally going to tell us what the big test is. Do-hyun nodded. He had been wondering about the final exam for weeks. Whatever it is, we need to work together. Humans are stronger as a team. They walked to the amphitheater, together. The huge room could hold all 33 species of students. The seats changed shape to fit each different body type. Do-hyun and Ji-woo found seats near the front. The large screens around the room lit up with images of a beautiful forest. Tall trees with blue-green leaves, clear streams of water, rocky hills in the background. What is that place? Ji-woo asked. Tall, thin alien with golden scales turned to them. That is Ecological Preserve ZX-9, the alien said in a hissing voice. A perfect testing ground, many different environments in one small area. Professor Tavik walked onto the stage. His blue skin looked darker today. His 6 limbs moved with purpose. The room went quiet. Students, he began, you have learned much in these past 3 months. You have studied the theory of survival. Now it is time to test your practical skills. The images on the screens changed, showing more views of the forest planet. Tomorrow you will all be transported to Ecological Preserve ZX9, Professor Tavik continued. This planet has safe conditions for all your species. The air is breathable, the temperature is moderate, there are no dangerous animals, Do-Yun felt relieved. At least they would not have to worry about alien monsters trying to eat them. Your task is simple yet fundamental to survival across the galaxy, Professor Tavik said. His voice became more serious. You must create fire. A buzz of excitement spread through the room. Many species started talking at once. The Pyroxians, red-skinned aliens with smoke coming from their mouths, looked very happy. They could make fire inside their bodies naturally. The Mevlans, with their thin electric fingers, also seemed pleased. However, Professor Tavik raised 2 of his 6 limbs for silence. No technology above level 2 on the galactic technology scale will be permitted. The room went quiet again. What does that mean? Do-Yun whispered to Jiwoo. It means no fancy fire starters, she whispered back. No lasers, no electric igniters, nothing advanced. Professor Tavik continued. You must create fire using only basic tools and natural materials found on site. Now the Pyroxians did not look so happy. They whispered among themselves with worried faces. Each team will have their own testing area, the professor explained. You will find a prepared site with wood, kindling, and natural tinder. Your task is to create a sustainable fire in the shortest time possible. The screen showed images of simple campsites in small clearings in the forest. The test will begin at local dawn, Professor Tavik said. You will have 2 standard hours to complete the task. 2 hours seemed like a long time to start a fire, Do-Hyun thought. But then he realized without modern tools it could be very hard. Each species has evolved different approaches to survival, Professor Tavik concluded. His compound eyes scanned the room slowly. This test will demonstrate which approaches are truly superior. When the professor said this, many students sat up straighter. This was not just about passing a test. This was about showing which species had the best survival skills. After the announcement, students broke into groups to discuss the challenge. The dining hall was loud with excited voices. We are in trouble, Do-Hyun said as he picked at his food. The replicator made it taste almost like food from home, but not quite right. Humans don't have any natural fire-making abilities. Jiwoo nodded. Most species here have some advantage. The Pyroxians can make fire in their bodies. The Mevlans can create electrical sparks. The Crystal Zith can focus light through their bodies. And what do we have? Do-Hyun asked. Our brains, Jiwoo said firmly. And our experience. Humans have been making fire for thousands of years. After dinner, they went back to their room to prepare. Jiwoo pulled up information on her tablet about primitive fire-making techniques. We could try the hand drill method, she said, showing Do-Hyun a video of a person spinning a stick between their hands to create friction on a piece of wood. Do-Hyun tried the motion. This looks hard. It could take a lot of time and energy. Or, we could try the bow drill, Jiwoo suggested, showing another video. This method used a simple bow to spin the stick faster. That might work better, Do-Hyun said, but we still need to practice and we need to find the right kind of wood. They spent hours watching videos and reading about fire-making techniques from Earth's history, friction methods, spark methods, using stones, even chemical methods using natural materials. This is going to be tough, Do-Hyun said, rubbing his tired eyes. He took off his glasses and cleaned them with the edge of his shirt. Most aliens have a physical advantage we don't have. As he put his glasses back on, the room light caught the lens, creating a bright spot on the wall. Do-Hyun froze, staring at the bright spot. Then he smiled slowly. What is it? Jiwoo asked, seeing his expression change. We do have an advantage, Do-Hyun said. He took off his glasses again and held them up. We have tools that are so basic, so much a part of us, that no one thinks of them as technology. Jiwoo looked confused for a moment. Then her eyes widened as she understood. Your glasses. The lenses can focus sunlight to start a fire. Do-hyun nodded, his smile growing bigger. Exactly. People on Earth have been using lenses to start fires for hundreds of years. It's simple physics. But will Professor Tavik allow it? Ji-woo asked. He said only basic tools. These are basic tools, Do-hyun argued. They're medical devices to help me see. They're not even electronic, just curved pieces of glass. They looked at each other with growing excitement. This could work, Ji-woo said. If there's good sunlight tomorrow, then we might surprise everyone. Do-hyun finished her thought. That night, as other students worried about the challenge ahead, the two humans went to sleep with a secret plan. Sometimes the simplest solutions were the best, and sometimes what seemed like a weakness, Do-hyun's poor eyesight, could become a strength. Professor Tavik's words echoed in Do-hyun's mind as he drifted off to sleep. Every weakness can become a strength. Tomorrow would show if the professor was right. The morning of the test, all students gathered in the ship's transport area. Everyone carried small packs with allowed items. Professor Tavik stood by the transport pad, checking each student's equipment. No advanced technology, he reminded them. Basic tools only. Level 2 or below on the galactic technology scale. When it was Do-hyun's turn, the professor looked at his glasses. These are medical devices, Do-hyun explained quickly. To help me see. They are just curved glass, no electronics. Professor Tavik's compound eyes studied the glasses for a moment. Then he nodded. Acceptable, he said. Proceed to the transport pad. Do-hyun let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. The first part of their plan had worked. The professor had not stopped him from bringing his glasses. The transport was quick. One moment they were on the ship, the next they stood in a forest, clearing. The air smelled fresh and clean. 2 suns shone in the sky, one large and orange, one smaller and yellow. Perfect, Ji-woo whispered, looking up at the 2 suns. Double the sunlight means double the heat we can focus. A small flying robot appeared in front of each team and played a message from Professor Tavik. Students, welcome to Ecological Preserve. ZX9. Each team has been assigned a testing area with the same basic materials. You will find wood, kindling, and natural tinder waiting for you. Your task is to create a sustainable fire within 2 standard hours. The testing areas are 20 meters apart. You may not enter another team's area or ask for help. Good luck. Your time starts now. The robot flew away, and a timer appeared in the air above their testing area. 2 hours, counting down. Do-hyun and Ji-woo walked to the center of their clearing, where a neat pile of materials waited. There were thick branches, thin sticks, dry leaves, and fluffy plant material that looked perfect for catching a spark. Let's set everything up first, Ji-woo said. We need to be ready when we try with your glasses. They worked quickly, arranging the materials in the best way for starting a fire. The thick branches went on the bottom in a square pattern. The thinner sticks made a tent shape over them. The dry leaves and fluffy material went in the center where they would catch fire first. While they worked, they could hear the other teams in nearby clearings. The Pyroxians were making frustrated grunting sounds. Without their high-tech fire enhancers, they were struggling to control the fire they made inside their bodies. The Mevlans weren't doing much better. Their electrical discharges were weaker in this planet's atmosphere. Everyone seems to be having trouble, Do-hyun said as he put the last pieces of kindling in place. That's good for us, Ji-woo replied. Now, let's test your glasses. Do-hyun took off his glasses carefully. Without them, the world became blurry. He handed them to Ji-woo. I can't see well enough to aim them, he said. You'll have to do it. Ji-woo took the glasses and held them where the sunlight could pass through them. She moved them until a bright spot appeared on her hand. Ouch, she said, pulling her hand away quickly. That's hot. It works. Do-hyun smiled. Good. But we need to be careful with the timing. If we start the fire too early, it might burn out before the 2 hours are up. The professor said, sustainable fire. You're right, Ji-woo agreed. Let's wait a bit and see how everyone else is doing. We can gather more materials while we wait. They spent the next half hour collecting extra wood and dry materials from around their clearing. They could hear the sounds of the other teams, working hard, stones hitting together making sparks, sticks rubbing against wood creating friction. Some alien species were using their natural abilities in creative ways, but no one seemed to have made a fire yet. After an hour had passed, Do-hyun checked their fire setup one more time. "I think we're ready," he said. "Let's do it now. If we wait too long, the professor might think we can't do it at all." Ji-woo nodded. She took Do-hyun's glasses again and knelt by their carefully built pile of fire materials. "Here goes nothing," she said. She held the glasses in the sunlight, moving them until a bright spot appeared on the fluffy tinder. She held them steady, focusing the light on one spot. Within seconds, a thin line of smoke rose from the tinder. Ji-woo held her breath, keeping the glasses perfectly still. Then a tiny orange spark appeared in the fluffy material. The spark grew, eating the dry tinder. More smoke rose up. "It's working," Do-hyun whispered excitedly. "Keep going." Ji-woo didn't move. She kept the glasses in exactly the same position. The spark grew into a small flame. The flame touched the dry leaves, which caught fire with a crackle. "Now the small sticks," Do-hyun said. He gently blew on the growing fire, feeding it oxygen. The small sticks started to burn. The fire grew stronger. Heat washed over their faces. "We did it," Ji-woo said. She carefully handed the glasses back to Do-hyun, who put them on with a huge smile. The fire was burning well now, eating the wood they had arranged so carefully. The flames were bright and strong. From the nearby clearings, they could hear sounds of surprise and frustration. No one else had a fire yet. "What do we do now?" Ji-woo asked. "We still have almost an hour left on the timer." "We keep the fire going," Do-hyun said. "We show that humans know how to maintain a fire, not just start one." They worked together, adding sticks to the fire when needed, making sure it didn't get too big or too small. They created a perfect campfire, the kind humans had made for thousands of years. Suddenly, a floating platform appeared above their clearing. Professor Tavik stood on it, looking down at their fire with his compound eyes. "Interesting," the professor said. "Most teams are still trying to create their first spark, yet you have a fully established fire. Explain your method." Do-hyun stood up straight. "We used my vision correction lenses, Professor. They focus the sunlight to create heat on a single point. It's a simple application of physics." "And this is a common method on your planet?" Professor Tavik asked. "Yes," Ji-woo answered. "Humans have been using lenses to start fires for hundreds of years. Children on Earth learn this method in basic science classes or in outdoor education." Professor Tavik made a clicking sound with his mouth parts. Then he spoke into a small device. The timer above their clearing stopped. "First successful fire," the professor announced. "Human team. Time, 1 hour, 5 minutes, 12 seconds. Do-hyun and Ji-woo looked at each other with wide smiles. They had done it. They had shown what humans could do with simple tools and knowledge. The professor's platform moved away to check on other teams. But the message was clear. In this test of basic survival skills, humans had just moved to the top of the class. Word spread quickly among the testing areas. The humans had made fire in just over an hour. The other species were surprised and confused. How had the physically weak humans succeeded so fast? Do-hyun and Ji-woo sat by their fire, keeping it burning, steady. They added small sticks when needed and made sure the flames didn't get too high or too low. "I think we made some aliens upset," Ji-woo whispered, pointing to the next clearing. A group of Peroxians were glaring at them with their glowing red eyes. "They thought this test would be easy for them," Do-hyun said. "They can make fire inside their bodies naturally, but they rely too much on that ability." Professor Tavik's platform floated between the different testing areas. The professor watched each team carefully, taking notes on a small device. Every now and then he would look back at the humans with his compound eyes. After another 30 minutes, there was a shout from a nearby clearing. The Mevlans had finally created a small fire by generating electrical sparks between their finger-like appendages. Their fire was small and weak, but it was burning. "Second successful fire," Professor Tavik announced. "Mevlan team, Time: 1 hour, 35 minutes, 47 seconds. The Mevlans made happy humming sounds, but their fire was much smaller than the humans' fire, which was now burning strong and steady. One by one, other teams began to succeed. The Zith, with their crystal bodies, focused the sunlight through themselves to create heat. The Vorlax used chemicals from their skin to start a reaction. The Tentari rolled stones together at high speed to create sparks. But many teams were still struggling when the timer reached the 1 hour and 50-minute mark. The Pyroxians still couldn't control the fire they produced within their bodies, well enough to light the wood. The Gruks couldn't generate enough friction with their soft limbs. Professor Tavik's platform stopped above the human clearing again. The professor looked down at their fire with great interest. "Your fire has been burning for nearly 1 hour," he said. "It is stable and well-maintained. What techniques are you using to keep it sustainable?" Do-hyun stood up to answer. "We are using a pyramid structure for the wood, Professor. This allows air to flow through the fire while the heat rises up naturally through the structure. It's a basic campfire design that humans have used for thousands of years." "And how did you learn this technique?" the professor asked. "Some of us learn it from our families when we go camping in natural areas," Jiwoo explained. "Others learn it in educational programs. Most human children know the basics of fire safety and maintenance by the time they are 10 years old." Professor Tavik made notes on his device. "Interesting. Your species passes down practical survival knowledge through generations, even though you no longer need these skills in your daily lives on your home planet." "Yes," Do-hyun said. "We believe it's important to know how to survive without technology, even though we have advanced technology available. It connects us to our past." The professor's head tilted slightly, a sign of curiosity among Veldorians. "A practical and wise approach. Technology can fail. Natural abilities can be limited by circumstances, but knowledge, once gained, is always available." As Professor Tavik moved away, Jiwoo smiled at Do-hyun. "I think we impressed him." "Maybe," Do-hyun said, "but the test isn't over yet." Just then, something strange happened. The sky, which had been clear all day, began to darken. Thick clouds rolled in quickly, blocking the two suns. A strong wind started to blow through the forest. "Attention, students." Professor Tavik's voice came from the small robots hovering near each testing area. "A weather system is moving in faster than expected. This is part of the test. A true survival situation often includes changing conditions. Those who have fire must now maintain it in challenging circumstances." Rain began to fall, light at first, then harder. The wind blew stronger. "Our fire!" Jiwoo cried as the flames flickered in the wind and rain. Do-hyun looked around quickly. "We need shelter for the fire. Help me gather large leaves and branches." They ran around their clearing, collecting big, broad leaves and sturdy branches. Working together, they built a small shelter over their fire. They positioned it to block the rain and wind while still allowing smoke to escape. The fire flickered and shrank, but it didn't go out. The shelter worked. The flames found dry wood to eat and grew stronger again. In the other clearings, many teams were not so lucky. The Mevlan's fire died in the rain. The Zith couldn't focus sunlight through. Their bodies without the suns visible in the sky. Many fires went out with hissing sounds as the rain fell harder. The Pyroxians finally managed to start a small fire just as the rain began, but they had no time to build a shelter, and their flames died quickly in the downpour. "This is the real test," Do-hyun said as they huddled near their protected fire. "Not just making fire, but keeping it going when conditions get bad." "Like life," Jiwoo said. "Anyone can do well when things are easy. But what matters is how you handle the hard times." The rain continued for 20 minutes. When it finally stopped, Professor Tavik's platform rose high above all the testing areas. The professor looked at each clearing, counting the fires that were still burning. "Attention, students," his voice echoed through the forest. "The examination is now complete. Of the 33 teams that began this test, only 7 have maintained a sustainable fire through the weather event. Do-hyun and Ji-woo looked at their fire with pride. It was burning as strong as ever, protected by their simple but effective shelter. The human team was first to create fire, and one of the few to maintain it through changing conditions. Professor Tavik continued. This demonstrates an important principle of galactic survival. Adaptability is often more valuable than specialized natural abilities. The Pyroxians in the next clearing made angry hissing sounds. They had been so confident at the start of the test, sure that their natural fire-making ability would give them an easy victory. Please maintain your position, Professor Tavik said. Transport back to the ship will begin shortly. We will discuss the results of this examination in tomorrow's class. As they waited for transport, Do-hyun carefully put out their fire. He poured water on it and stirred the ashes to make sure it was completely out. Why are you putting it out? Ji-woo asked. The test is over. A good camper never leaves a fire burning, Do-hyun said. That's another rule humans learn early. Fire is a tool, but it can also be dangerous if not respected. When Professor Tavik's platform floated over their clearing one last time, he noticed what Do-hyun was doing. Another interesting human practice, the professor observed. Safety considerations even after the test is complete. Fire has been our friend and our danger throughout human history, Do-hyun explained. We respect its power. Professor Tavik made more notes on his device. As he floated away, Ji-woo nudged Do-hyun with her elbow. I think we just earned extra points, she whispered. The next morning, all students gathered in the main classroom. Everyone was talking about yesterday's test. The 7 teams that kept their fires going sat a little taller. The others looked disappointed or angry. Do-hyun and Ji-woo took their usual spots near the front of the room. Some alien students looked at them with new respect. Others, like the Pyroxians, seemed upset that the humans had done better than them. Professor Tavik entered the room. His blue skin looked brighter today, a sign of good mood in Veldorians. He carried a small device that projected images into the air. Yesterday's examination was revealing, the professor began. Each species approached the challenge differently. Today we will analyze these approaches and learn from them. The first image showed the Pyroxians trying to control the fire they made inside their bodies. The Pyroxians relied on their natural ability to create fire internally, Professor Tavik explained. This is usually an advantage. But without their normal technological aids, they struggled to control the output. When the rain came, they had no protection ready. The Pyroxians looked down, embarrassed. The next image showed the Mevlans creating electrical sparks between their finger-like appendages. The Mevlans adapted well to the limited technology rule, the professor said. But they focused all their energy on creating fire and did not prepare for changing weather conditions. More images showed other species and their methods. The professor had something to say about each approach. Then the image changed to show Do-hyun and Ji-woo. In the picture, Ji-woo was holding Do-hyun's glasses to focus sunlight on the tinder, while Do-hyun arranged the wood. The humans took a different approach, Professor Tavik said. Unable to create fire naturally, they used a simple tool, vision correction lenses, to focus sunlight. This method was quick and effective. The next image showed their shelter protecting the fire from rain. More importantly, the humans anticipated problems and adapted quickly to changing conditions, the professor continued. They built a shelter that protected their fire while still allowing proper ventilation. The final image showed Do-hyun putting out the fire safely after the test. And they demonstrated responsibility by ensuring their fire was fully extinguished when no longer needed, Professor Tavik said. This shows an understanding of fire as both a tool and a potential danger. The professor put down his device and looked around the classroom. Each species in the galaxy has evolved different advantages, he said. Some can create fire. Some can survive extreme temperatures. Some can go without water for years. These natural abilities are valuable. He walked to the center of the room, all 6 limbs moving in perfect harmony. But this examination has shown that adaptability, creative thinking, and passed down knowledge can be equally valuable, sometimes more valuable. Do-hyun felt proud hearing these words. Humans might not have the natural abilities that other species had, but they had their own strengths. The human team receives the highest marks for this examination, Professor Tavik announced. They demonstrated not only how to create fire efficiently, but how to maintain it in changing conditions and how to end it safely. A murmur went through the classroom. Most students nodded in agreement. Even some of the Pyroxians looked like they accepted the decision. After class, as students were leaving, Professor Tavik called Do-hyun and Ji-woo to stay behind. "Your performance yesterday was impressive," the professor said when they were alone. "But I am curious about something." "What is it, Professor?" Ji-woo asked. "Many species rely on their natural abilities. When those abilities fail, they struggle to adapt," Professor Tavik said. "But humans seem to expect problems and prepare for them. Why is this?" Do-hyun thought for a moment before answering. "I think it's because humans have always had to adapt," he said. "We don't have natural weapons or special abilities. We can't create fire in our bodies or generate electricity from our fingers. We had to learn to use tools and to think ahead. And we teach each other what we learn," Ji-woo added. "For thousands of years, human knowledge has been passed down from parents to children, from teachers to students. We build on what others discovered before us." Professor Tavik's compound eyes focused on them. "This is a valuable perspective. Most species in the galaxy believe that evolution is only about developing better natural abilities. But humans show that evolution can also favor adaptability and knowledge sharing." The professor moved to his desk and picked up a small device. He tapped on it a few times. "I have sent a message to your communication devices," he said. "It contains information about the next 3 survival skills tests. Normally, I would not share this in advance. But I am curious to see how humans prepare when they know what challenges are coming." Do-hyun and Ji-woo looked at each other in surprise. This was a special opportunity. "Thank you, Professor," Do-hyun said. "We'll do our best." As they walked back to their room, they checked the message. The next test would be about finding safe water, building shelter, and navigating without technology. "More challenges that humans have been solving for thousands of years," Ji-woo said with a smile. "We should share what we know with some of the other species," Do-hyun suggested. "We can learn from them too. The Zith probably know more about filtering water than we do." Ji-woo nodded. "That's another human strength. We work together and share knowledge across different groups." That evening, they invited students from several species to their room. They talked about the fire test and shared ideas about the upcoming challenges. The aliens were surprised that the humans wanted to help them. "Why would you share your knowledge with us?" a young Zith asked, her crystal body glinting in the light. "We are competing with you." "Because that's how humans progress," Do-hyun explained. "We share what we know. We learn from each other. We find better solutions together than alone." Later, when everyone had left, Do-hyun stood by the window looking at the stars. He thought about Earth so far away. Humans were new to the galactic community. They didn't have the natural abilities that many alien species had. But they had their own strengths. They could adapt. They could learn. They could work together. "What are you thinking about?" Ji-woo asked, joining him at the window. "I'm thinking that humans have a place here," Do-hyun said. "We have something to offer the galaxy." "Yes," Ji-woo agreed, "and something to learn from it too." They watched the stars together, 2 humans far from home but finding their way in a much larger universe than they had ever imagined. Their success in the fire test was just the beginning. There would be many more challenges ahead, but they would face them the human way, with adaptability, knowledge, and working together. In the vast galaxy full of incredible alien species, humans had shown they belonged. Not because they were the strongest or had the most amazing natural abilities, but because they could think, adapt, and share what they learned. And sometimes that made all the difference.